A contingency plan is an important part of your risk management strategy. And whilst it won't make the risks go away, it won't make them less likely to occur, nor will it even give them less impact, it will equip you to know how to handle the situation if and when the risks do occur. This will help you to restore control quickly and limit potential knock-on impacts. But what tactics can you take and put into your contingency plan? Here are 10 examples. Number 1, create schedule contingency, also known as float. Put extra time into your program to absorb delays or to provide you with a buffer should unexpected events occur. Number 2, look for non-dependent activities that you can reschedule to give yourself more time now by placing them into the future. If you need to turn your attention to something serious that's happened now, it's helpful to know quickly which activities you can delay, defer to another time, so that you can turn all of your attention to the things that matter now. Importantly, these need to be tasks that you can defer without affecting the final completion date, so they will be tasks that do not lie on your critical path. And 3, are there any non-critical tasks that, should you need to, you could drop completely? Now, if you've planned carefully, there's a good chance there won't be, but there might be some discretionary activities or some low-value functionality that you can drop from this iteration of the project or entirely. This may need consent from stakeholders or the governance tiers of your project, but being aware what the low-value, low-criticality tasks are is enormously valuable when disasters strike. 4th, research in advance for off-the-shelf solutions. COTS stands for commercial off-the-shelf, and sometimes if you need a bit of extra time, you can gain that time by spending some money on a commercial off-the-shelf solution to replace something you were going to develop. This could also be a cheaper solution if you're prepared to accept some constraints or limitations in the functionality you achieve. 5th, we've already created schedule contingency, so now we need to create some budget contingency. Squirrel away a small amount of cash within your budget to handle contingencies. And if at any stage you make savings in your project, then put those savings into the contingency so that you've got them when you need them. My mother used to call this saving for a rainy day. 6th, can you identify some non-critical deliverables or functionality that you can cut? This will, of course, be an uncomfortable compromise, but working with your stakeholders at the outset, you should be identifying the levels of priority for each deliverable within your project, which means that if difficult times arise, you know where to look first and you know which stakeholders you need to engage with first, because those particular elements of functionality, those particular deliverables matter most to them. 7th, build in test time and build in remediation time. Remediation time is part of your contingency, but if you're not building it in, then you're kind of assuming that the tests will always go swimmingly. And the real world doesn't agree with you. Experience shows that the reason why we do tests is because components and systems will fail those tests. And if you haven't built in enough time for remediation, then your project will be delayed. And of course, the same goes for budget, which reminds me that if your products, your deliverables pass the tests first time, then you will have a little extra contingency in your schedule and in your budget for future problems. Number 8, secure expert evaluators. It's an investment, but it can pay off. Having people who really understand the project and its technicalities in depth can provide you with insights that will help you to avoid problems. And knowing who those experts are and how you can call upon them quickly can help you resolve problems in the case of when you need to. Having those experts on the end of a phone is part of your contingency plan. Change upon change is chaos. So my 9th idea is to make sure that you have strong change control as part of your contingency plan. When things go wrong, how will you evaluate the options you have in front of you? And of course, uncontrolled changes to scope, specification, or quality will cause the kind of problems that we need a contingency plan to handle. And of course, without good change control, you don't have the full spectrum of project governance that you need, and therefore with governance compromised, you're setting yourself up for difficulties. And finally, for me the last resort, is to identify opportunities and mechanisms for extended working hours should you need them. If things go wrong, you'll need all hands on deck and you'll need all the goodwill you can gain. So firstly, you need to build relationships with your team, which mean they are likely to help out when asked. And secondly, you need to understand the organisational mechanisms that will allow you to remunerate them properly should you call upon them to give you additional time and hours. But critically, never use this potential extra time for part of your core scheduling and planning, because then you don't have contingency. Early in my career as a project manager, I was asked to build in weekend working into the plan, and I refused, reminding my client and my boss if we did that we would have no contingency. I said, I will plan this so that we can deliver it within the working week, and only if something arises that we are totally unprepared for will I call upon team members to give some extra time in the weekends. So there you have 10 tactics you can deploy when building contingency plans. There are many more, and of course an infinite number of ways of implementing them and combining them on your project. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. There'll be loads more great project management content to come, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.